One. I am live. You are live. Welcome, YouTube. Welcome, fellow artists on records people. I'm glad you're all here. Well, tonight we have a wonderful episode. But before we get started, I see Steve. I see Debbie. You guys are in the chat. I have a wonderful friend. And if the internet gods Hakas Chinik, don't look at me. Look at him. It's all going to happen now. You might know some hit songs that he played in. But let me give you a little intro from Johnny Carson.
Cyndi Gennaro.
Where are you from, Sandy?
New York City.
What do you do back there?
Well, we're living out here now.
Well, what do you do here? You play music?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't kidding you here because my son wears his hair this long. But that doesn't make any difference.
They're talking about Cyndi Gennaro. Don't touch that dial, kids. It all happens now. Mr. Cyndi Gennaro is in the house. Welcome here, Sandy. Look at the crowd. They're going crazy. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Stefan. I appreciate it, man.
For the people out there watching, you've been around a while on our channel because I had you as a guest. We had the Blackjack reunion. And for everybody out there that maybe not aware of Blackjack, that was a band that you were the drummer and you had a couple of characters that I know, a mutual friend, Bruce Kulick.
Yes.
He was one person, right?
Yep, absolutely. And you actually, let me correct you. You had 75% of Blackjack on.
I had 75%. Hold on. I'm getting Hakmi Chinik over here. Hold on. Listen to it. Andrew, I got to call you back. I'm in the middle of a show. Okay? I'm live on the air right now. I got to call you back when I'm done. I have a legendary drummer. What?
Who are you talking to that is so important that you can't talk to me? Why would you pick up?
Because it rang right now, and I can't. I'm on the show with my friend Cyndi Gennaro. He's a drummer for Cyndi Lauper, Joan Jett, Bo Diddley, Benny Mardones, Into the Night, one of my favorite songs. And I want to know all about the secrets. I want to know if Joan Jett if he's seen her with the other, I'm trying to find secrets here, So let me call you back.
He's talking to a drummer.
Yeah.
Superstar.
Talking to a drummer.
I like drummers.
Yeah.
Can I talk?
You could talk, but the problem is I don't know if he'll be able to hear you.
Ask him. How long are you gonna be?
Sandy, you want to talk to my friend for a second?
What's your friend's name?
Hold on. Let me see if I can make this work. My friend's name is Andrew Dice Clay.
Hey, Andrew.
Wait, hold on. Let me put this through. Hold on, Andrew. Hold on. Let's see if I could get this.
I'll talk to him only if I can have your hat, Stefan.
I'm wearing my Brooklyn hat.
I love your Brooklyn newsboy hat.
Yeah.
Andrew, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Okay. Can you hear Sandy? I don't think you can hear Sandy.
Hey, Andrew, could you hear
sort
me?
of hear him.
You could sort of
You
hear.
know, Cyndi Lauper was working with my friend. Guess who?
What's
Cyndi
your friend's name?
Yeah, what's your friend's name?
Sarah Hudson, famous songwriter.
Oh, Sarah Hudson. She's a songwriter that wrote for a lot of people. She's actually wrote recent songs for big people, Sarah.
Yeah, she's with that Dua Lipa. She's with the other one over there from American Idol that made it onto Katy Perry.
Katy Perry.
That got on Idol recently.
Yeah.
Is she any?
And you want to hang up on me?
Well, yeah, because the guy has a book, and we're talking about his book, and you did this when I had Joey D on too. You call up and you bust that guy's port. I never heard from him again. Peppermint Twist, Sandy. Peppermint Twist.
Not as a drummer, so why shouldn't I be allowed to talk to a fellow drummer? We have things in common.
Hey, Andrew. I remember seeing you play the drums. You headlined Madison Square Garden, and you got up on the stage and you played the drums.
Can you
See
hear
what I mean?
You heard that?
Yes.
You heard that.
You have a connection, me and you. See?
We do.
Stefan doesn't understand what you're talking about, but me and you get it.
We do get it. But you know what? If you would have said to me, "What's your name, honey? Any idea?" I would.
See, I like him.
Hey, listen, Andrew.
Can you
Listen,
believe-
we
listen
wore
to me.
your we wore your VHS
Listen.
tapes out on every tour
Listen.
bus I was ever on in my whole life.
You hear that, Andrew?
Stefan.
Yes.
What's his first?
His
What's
first
his
name
first
is Sandy. Sandy grew up, and listen to this. Are you ready, Andrew?
Sandy Sticks.
Are
That's his new name, Sandy Sticks.
okay, Sandy Sticks. I hope you're sitting down for this, Andrew. He grew up in Staten Island, New York.
Tell him, let him know what I grew up living right next to.
Sandy, are you ready to know? Do you want
Go
to
ahead.
know?
I'm ready. I'm sitting down.
He used to play at Willowbrook with the people by the hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
I got my exit. I lived in Staten Island. I got off Victory Boulevard, drove 2 blocks. You make a left into my neighborhood. If you make the wrong left, that left went right into Willowbrook.
Right.
So I used to hang out there. There was a lot of people.
It was near. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that near Wolf's Pond Park?
Can you hear that, Andrew?
Is this an audience or an all?
Personal. What's he saying? Just, Stefan,
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from the interview because I can't hear him that well.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
loud enough.
Okay.
I know that's something you're doing with the board and that you're on purpose.
No, I'm not doing anything. This
You're
guy,
going to pay a very big price.
this guy always thinks I'm doing something.
I just came out of a graveyard after 10 hours. Do you understand where I was all day?
I understand. I know what you were
No, you
doing
No, but you don't know where I was doing it.
in a graveyard,
Yeah, for 10 hours.
a real graveyard.
A real graveyard.
What were you doing in the graveyard for 10 hours?
Sandy wants to know what you're doing.
I'm starring in a new movie called Warrior Strong. I do the graveyard scene. I put in a monologue that they could never, ever even think of writing, just off the top of my head about life and heart. And I can't get into it because it's in the movie now. So now they tell me take a little break, right? After all the hours shooting the scene. Because then they had another scene. They were going to put me in front of somebody's house going, oh, that kid on the ladder, that's the big plan. But instead, they decided to film the kid on the ladder with his mother. So I left.
Sandy,
called the
you see this?
I know.
I said, I'm going home. I'm done for the day. That's that.
Can I ask, hey, Andrew, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What did you do with the Emmy that you won for your appearance on the
What you saying? It's hard to hear when it talks fast.
He wants to know what you did with your Emmy.
I want to know what you did with your Emmy that you won because of your participation in the Tommy Lee movie.
Stefan, repeat it.
He wants to know what you did with the Emmy that you won in the Pam and Tommy miniseries.
I appreciate that he said that, but honestly, that was a pretty easy part for me to play. And you should also let him know, Stefan, that you were my acting coach. That was the first acting thing you ever did, learning those lines with me till 3, 4 in the morning.
That's
for
true.
A couple of weeks.
Wow.
So my sugar plum was out of town doing who knows what. I don't know where she went.
That's true. See that, Sandy?
That's
not
awesome.
Not only you got to play.
She had to go.
What's that?
She had to go back to work, so that's when I sent you the sides that you could actually send to Sandy now that the show is over, just to prove to him, because he doesn't seem to believe anything we talk about, me and you.
No.
So send him the sides from when we were rehearsing the lines to Pam and Tommy, so he'll finally believe something we say.
No, I believe. And what gave you the idea that I didn't believe you, Andrew? Hey, by the way, where did you live on Staten Island? Victory and what?
Canterbury Avenue.
Oh, okay. That's over. You're right. It's over by Willowbrook.
What do you think? I didn't know you lie to you. I went to, where did I go to? PS30. It was either PS30 or PS31.
And do you know who else is from Staten Island? Andrew.
No, I don't.
David Johansen, New York Dolls.
Who?
David Johansen from the New York Dolls.
The New York one. I don't follow sports.
What about
I
Chasm
used to
Sultan?
hang out
Chasm
on
Sultan
Jewett
from
Avenue. Remember Jewett Avenue?
I do. I used to live on Brooks Pond Place, right by the zoo.
Yeah, because I used to have to take the bus from there to school. And that's also where I would go to get bagels.
Right.
See, I know what I'm talking about. I lived there.
Now,
I
Sandy,
used to go sledding in the snow right off the freeways over there down the hills.
Yeah, off of Martling. I know exactly where.
What's he getting mad about now? What did I
No,
say
I'm
to
not
him?
getting mad. I wish you were on.
he's a drummer. This is what they do.
Let me tell you something, my friend Sandy Sticks. I have a stick from Vader. Vader did an Andrew Dice Clay stick. Just so you know that.
Hey, Andrew, what's your name? Any idea?
Look, listen, I just came off a long day of filming.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, had an argument with the director, with the producer. You know, I left. Who knows what's gonna even be? I don't know.
Well,
I might get fired.
I'll call you on. You're not. Everything is good. See, Sandy, breaking news.
Harry,
Everything is good.
Harry, do you want to talk to him?
I'm in an interview. What's the matter
Go
with
in
you?
the bathroom. All right, I gotta go. Nice talking to you, Sandy.
Hey, thanks,
Stefan,
Andrew.
I'll talk to you later if you want.
Okay, I'll call you when I'm done with Sandy. Sandy has a
All
lot
right,
going on. Hey,
Sandy,
can I tell you
lots
something?
of luck with.
Hey.
Can I tell him? Good luck with the book. What's the name of the book?
It's right here. Beat the odds in the business and life, and it's Sandy Gennaro right here. I'm holding it up for everybody to see. It's a good book. Beat the odds in business and life. He's helping
Tell you something.
people in the business.
You know what? That's a good book to put out. Maybe I should read it so I learn what to do.
You know what? What I'm going to do, Andrew? I'm going to let you use my copy.
No, you know what? Hey, Stefan, just give me Andrew's. I'll send you one for Andrew, and I'll sign it to him, and I'll send it his own book so he doesn't have to borrow yours.
So Andrew will get his own book. And you know what? For see, that's really nice. And for everybody else watching, links are in the description down below, and you can get a book like Andrew and Stefan right
and I'll
here.
sign it for you.
That's really nice of him. Isn't he nice, Andrew?
Yeah. All right. 1 second. Don't stand there looking at me. Go in the bathroom. Just go in there.
Oh shit!
Take a shower. Go in.
Go.
I just did a long day. Just go in the bathroom.
In the graveyard.
Try to be sweet to a girl, and this is what I get.
This is what I get. I understand completely.
Hey, Andrew.
She's complaining how tired she is. I did all the work.
Andrew, I got 3 words for you.
You ready, Andrew?
Yeah.
Hickory dickory dock.
But Sandy, I end every show doing those. Just so you know. It never gets old for me doing probably one of the most famous, maybe the most famous signature comedy bit ever. So when I hear somebody, especially somebody that was at the Garden, go hickory dickory dock, I love that. This chick was sucking my god. The clap up too. I dropped my goo. I dumped the bitch on the next block. Oh! Little boy Blue, he needed the money.
But
Little boy fucked her. She blew a horse, licked his feet. She ate his ass so very nice. Tongue these bowls not once but twice. Oh! Andy, I don't forget.
That's great.
That's
I love
classic.
that guy. I gotta go.
All right.
bless.
All right. We'll see you later. Miss Andrew Dice Clay. Give him a round of applause. God bless. All right. There he was. Andrew Dice Clay. Really nice guy, huh?
Classic.
New York. New York. Who would ever think, huh?
You know, it's nice when you're a fan of somebody for a really, really long time, and then you meet them, and some people you're a fan of and you meet that you wish you didn't meet them. But I'm glad Andrew called in, and we're from Staten Island. He grew up maybe about a half a mile from where I used to live. So you know what? It's a small world.
And that was a scary place when he's talking about Willowbrook. That was like one of the worst hospitals. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? They closed it down.
Well, yeah, it had a really bad reputation. It was like a mental health rehab hospital, and there was reports about some serious bad shit going on.
I remember on 2020 one of those shows.
Yeah, there
right?
was. Yeah. So I think they cleaned it up. I'm not sure what it is now. It's right near the campus of the College of Staten Island, right off of Victory Boulevard, like Andrew said.
Yeah, Andrew's father was he built homes over. He was a contractor, development. So he did a couple of the homes, and he grew up there. But okay, now we had Andrew Dice Clay. Everybody watching, that was Andrew Dice Clay on the phone, the comedian. You could catch him in the miniseries Pam and Tommy, which I helped him with the script. I helped him with the role. That's true, and all that good stuff. But right now we got Cyndi Gennaro over here, another New Yorker, another East Coast guy, and he's here in the house. The hidden secrets behind the music. I want to know the real dirt. But Cyndi has a book out, and in the links down below, you can check that out. Beat the odds in business and life. Links are in our description. I have the book right here in front of me, and Cyndi is. The links are right. You can get an autograph. So check out those links and get, his John Hancock right there. But Cyndi, and the comments too, put your comments in there. We want to hear what you guys are saying. Here's a friend of mine from Canarsie, Brooklyn. He has a question. Cyndi, you were in Joan's band during the Light of Day period. My brother was in her band for the Hit List tour and album Notorious. Phil Fight is his brother.
Oh, Phil Fight. I know that name very, very well. I think I've jammed with him on a couple occasions in New York. I was in Joan's band. I toured with her in support of the Up Your Alley record, from which came Hate Myself for Loving You. And I was in the Little Liar video. And then I recorded, me and Tommy Price recorded a couple of tracks on the Hit List record.
Oh, wow.
But I toured with her from end of 88 through like the mid 90s, not mid 90s, mid of 1990.
Wow. Some career you had, man. I mean, really a great. So we were talking before Andrew came in and cut us. Let's go back a little bit. So when we had pretty much the Blackjack reunion, everybody but Michael Bolton. For everybody that doesn't know Blackjack, that was Michael Bolton's band before he went to become Michael Bolton. Of course, right. It was with Bruce Kulick, Jimmy Haslip was in the band, and Cyndi right here.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was my first professional album signing, and we were all a band. We were equal members, and Michael and Bruce did all the writing. It was really an awesome. The highlight of that whole project was doing a record with Tom Dowd producing.
Yeah.
And Criteria Studios, and he didn't produce new bands ever because he's a classic a Hall of Fame producer, and he was done producing new bands. But as a favor to Steve Weiss, who was our attorney, who was also the attorney for Led Zeppelin, he did us a solid and recorded that record at Criteria Studios. And I stayed for the whole record. After my basic tracks were done, I stayed for all the overdubs, the vocals, the mix, and everything, because I wanted to learn as much as I could from Tommy. And it was an awesome experience for me. 1979.
Wow. So you went East Coast, you went to California around that time? Is that where you hooked up with the Blackjack guys?
Actually, I didn't hook them. I moved out to California in 1976 to get my first big break in the music business from New York. And I ended up, it's a kind of a long story, but I ended up through a resume that had Carmine Appice as a reference. I mailed it to Peter Grant, my resume to Peter Grant, who managed Led Zeppelin. Yeah. But the resume ended up on Steve Weiss's desk, the attorney for Led Zeppelin. And he was putting a band together around Michael and Bruce at the time, ready to get signed. And I needed a gig. And through Carmine's reference, because Steve Weiss used to be the attorney for Vanilla Fudge and knew Carmine very, very well. So Carmine vouched to me. He asked me. The next call I got was Steve Weiss. I went to New York and auditioned for the band and got the gig. The next day, Jimmy Haslett flew in. He was on the road with Tom Scott at the time, and he got the gig. Obviously, we rehearsed for Polygram, got the 7-album deal with 2 of them guaranteed, and then we auditioned for Tom Dowding, and he agreed to produce us. And a couple of months later, we were in Criteria doing the first record.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty heavy. Just to deal with the Zeppelin connection.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's all, you know. I tell this story in my speaking gigs, in my keynote speeches, and it's really a sign. It's evidence that the universe takes care of those who think right and treat people right, and always willing to take the opportunity to help somebody else. And when you do that, when you think outside yourself, Stefan, the universe puts people and things in your place to help you go where you want to go.
Wow.
It's like the whole definition of karma. It's a worn out expression, but man, is it true. And I'm sitting here as total evidence of that.
I see it right behind you. Look at that. That's a resume on the wall right there. Look incredible. It looks incredible back there. It's a lot of hard work. Let me ask you the Carmine connection. How did you guys hook up, you and Carmine?
Well, I was a huge fan of Vanilla Fudge growing up in New York, and that was Carmine's first band. And I used to go see them everywhere. I used to travel out to Long Island to a place called the Action House to go see them, and Hunter College, and everywhere they played. And when I moved to LA, I met him in LA, and we became friends. And we became friends in LA, and then he was like my muse. He was like my mentor. And I auditioned for Rod Stewart. I ended up bringing my own drums to Rod Stewart's audition, which the audition was held at SIR. There was drum set already there, but I brought my own drums because I was so insecure about playing on another drum set. So I didn't get the gig because I made Rod Stewart and the band wait while I was setting up my drums. So I told Carmine about that, and I said, you know, Carmine, I don't think they found somebody yet. You should go down for that audition. So he said, do you got management's number? And I said, yeah. So I gave him Rod's management's number. Carmine Appice goes down and gets the gig on my letting him know that it was available. So he wrote, if you read in the beginning of my book, Stefan, that Carmine wrote a little testimonial, and he thanked me for giving him turning him on to the biggest gig in his life, because he went on and did 7 records with Rod and co-wrote the You Think I'm Sexy or whatever. But it only goes to show you that you never know who you're talking to. Mr. Superstar Carmine Appice gets the biggest gig of his life with Rod Stewart from at the time, I was a little nobody, a little guy in LA trying to get his first big gig. Wow. So as a result of me turning him on to his first big gig, and then his name is on my resume, which Steve Weiss knows Carmine personally because he used to be the attorney for Vanilla Fudge. That's what gave Steve the impetus to call me, because he knew Carmine. So it goes around and it comes around, it goes around and it comes around. It's unbelievable. But Carmine and I are still good friends to this day, and Mark Stein, and it's just awesome. Like the little conversation we had with Andrew Dice Clay before, it's like awesome when you're a fan and you admire these people from afar, and then in Carmine's case, you meet and become really close friends. He was at my house eating meatballs and gravy, like, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Carmine and Vinny, and then I'm on the phone with Andrew Dice Clay. Are you kidding? I never lose my enthusiasm, Stefan, about I'm a little kid again when I meet people that I really like,
You know what? No, it's great, Sandy. It's great. And the book is really great. It's not only about the music business, but it is a book about in life, how to handle yourself, how to think what you just said, just have that positive energy to always keep your eye on the tiger, basically. Right.
It just outlines the positive principles that people should live by. And whether you're a CEO, whether you're a maintenance man, whether you're a parent, whether you're a stay-at-home dad or stay-at-home mom, it's just basically how you live with the wind to your back. I got no special talent, Stefan. I could play some songs. I have a certain amount of expertise on the drums, but I don't consider myself technically like a Carl Palmer or Neil Peart or anything like that. I'm more like a Charlie Watts kind of guy. I just play the beats to songs. I have no formal musical training, but how did somebody like me, have a career and play with 3 Hall of Fame artists among others, and have the wall decorations like I do behind me. And it's not rocket science. It's basically just don't be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk. Just treat somebody like you would want to be treated if you were in their shoes. And in addition to that, that's a sense of altruism, thinking outside yourself. But in addition to that, it's the way you think, and it's your perception and the conversations you have with yourself when you look in the mirror. Oh, I'll never be that. Oh. But what you think, often it becomes reality. Life is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
And thoughts are actually things. And the thoughts you entertain day in and day out, they become reality.
100%. 100%. I mean, look, it's proof in the pudding. What you have behind you, who you played with. Now, I'm going to share something in here. Blackjack. So here you did 2 albums with Blackjack, right?
Yes.
Am I correct? But while you're in Blackjack, you played on a great album, and I own that record. And it was a song. It might have been a hit, not once, but not twice. 3 times. I think
it was 3 times. I'm not sure the 3rd time, but it was. I'm not sure when the 3rd time it was, but it was 1980, and I think 1990 or 91. It was in the top Billboard top 10, I think.
And here's a glimpse of 4 seconds, because I don't want to get striked here, but I love the song and the drum beat. It's one of my favorite beats.
Just 16 years old.
That's Benny Mardones, the hit song "Into the Night." And Cyndi, you're on the track. You're not on the whole album, right?
I am on the whole album, yeah. And you know what? As Karma, Carmine was nice to me through the Steve Weiss connection, and so now I'm in Blackjack. So that was the first domino, and I'm rehearsing for Blackjack's 2nd record at a studio on 30th Street, Manhattan. And I go out to buy a soda at the machine. I see feel this tap on my shoulder, and this person says, were you playing drums in there? And I said, yeah. He said, man, you sound really, really good. You want to play on my record? He said, come down to the studio after you're done with your band. You don't have to leave your band. Play on my record. We'll arrange schedules. Come down to the studio and I'll play you some songs. And it was Benny. He was with Barry Mraz, the producer, picking songs for the record. And I heard he played the intro to Into the Night, and I thought it was classic already. I'd never heard the song before. So I played on that record, and now all of a sudden, a few months later, on a top 10 single. And in LA, I was about to throw the drumsticks in the fireplace, and then I get the Blackjack gig, and then that leads to the Benny Mardones gig, and blah, 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 and on and on.
Wow. I mean, listen to this. I love it. The drumming is so perfect, and it's spaced out where it's breathing. The vocals, you could hear the instruments, the bass line. Recording that song, I get chills. I can never get tired of hearing it. It was one of my favorite songs growing up. My mom loved the song. Did you jam through it? Did they tell you what to play? You just can you tell me?
Well, we rehearsed it. We rehearsed it as it was. And by the way, not many people know, but Lee Fox, the bass player, and Lee Fox is welded to my bass drum. If you listen to the bass and the bass drum with no click, it was recorded live at Quad Radio Studios in North Miami. Lee Fox is now the bass player in Blondie for the last couple of years.
Oh, wow.
Well, the last several years. But anyway, no, I would count the song in, and we when we're rehearsing and Barry's in there making suggestions or whatever. And he said, hey, Cyndi, do a little pickup. Instead of counting it in and coming in on the 1, do a little beat and a half pickup, like ba ba da ba da boo or whatever. So the first thing that came to my mind was 1, 2, 3, boom, ba da ch. And he stopped and he said, Cyndi, that fits perfect. As a matter of fact, don't just play it on the intro, but every time there's a turnaround on the record, like verse to chorus to solo, chorus, whatever, play that same lick and it'll be like a drum hook.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. And that's, out of all the tracks I played on in my whole life, I get the most questions about that track.
It's just one of those tracks. It's incredible. You mind if I play another 4 seconds?
Ahead,
let's let the audience hear, because it's so good.
But I want you to never see.
It's so great, man. I mean, it never gets old, and the drums is it's as important as his vocals. I mean, his vocals are so R&B, the roots. And here's the funny thing: his record before that, he did a cover of a Bee Gees tune. I believe Benny Mardones did one of his records before that. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have it. I'm a big Benny Mardones fan.
And what was the beat?
It was I'll tell you right now.
Not mining disaster. In the event that something.
No, Benny Mardones. I'll tell you right now what it is, because I know out there, internet people, if you get it wrong, they get you. So you know what? He did, and I have the record. Benny Mardones. What Bee Gees song did he do? I Started a Joke. And
I started a joke.
Which the vocals on that? Who's the main singer singing that line? It's Robin Gibb, who you did something with as well.
I did. Tom. Well, thanks to Tom Dowd. I love that man. Tom Dowd, in sometime in 1985, hey, want to come down to Middle East Studios and do a Robin Gibb record? Me and Maurice Gibb are producing. Phil Chen is playing bass.
Rod Stewart's bass player as well.
Stewart, yeah, Rod Stewart, a bunch of other people. Jeff Beck, he played on Blow by Blow.
Yeah, great.
Steve Farris from Mr. Mister was the guitar player and a keyboard player who went on to produce a bunch of things. So I went, are you kidding, Tommy? Of course. So I went down and recorded, I don't know, it was 5 or 6 tracks on the name of the record. I have it on my wall. The name of the record is Walls Have Eyes, Robin Gibb.
Walls Have Eyes. That's the name of the record. Wow. Well, how was he in this? How was Robin?
Oh, he was awesome. He's just he reminded me a little bit of Freddie Mercury. Really? He had this great voice. I mean, Freddie had a bombastic operatic voice, but Robin had this frail, but he had an octave range, but he was very timid and very soft-spoken. Oh, nice to meet you. He was one of those guys that when he shook your hand, he shook it with 2 hands, like he grabbed your hand with 2 hands.
Like he cared, like he's like really nice to meet you.
And Maurice was cool, and it was Maurice and Tommy, and then Robin would come in and out, and of course I didn't stay there for the vocals, but of course he was there. But during the basic tracks, even the third brother, what was the third?
Was
brother?
It Barry?
Barry, he would come in on occasion, and but he's the only one left, man. Maurice and Robin, R.I.P.
Yeah, Barry is the only one left. It's funny you just said that. I just saw in the comments over there by Rachel. She wrote, you know, at least we have Barry over there. We still have Barry right there. Yeah, that's right.
We still have Barry, right.
I'm a big Bee Gees fan, and Robin always had a distinct voice. It was a different sounding voice, but like he's gonna cry. Right. You know,
well, that's the song, the first song that I ever, the first song I remember from the Bee Gees, New York mining disaster.
Yeah.
In the event of something happening to me, there was something I would like the world to see. I don't remember that.
But it's very touching. And I Started a Joke, just the whole vocal range. But man, really cool cats that you got to do some stuff with. Now, I have to ask you right now, because I know we covered a little of this, but there's another band that you toured with and I love. And you know what? It's all when you have your mindset as Cyndi in business, in life, things will happen. You don't have to be a musician, but things can happen. So all you need to do is apply this right here. If you apply this, you can get this. Where is it? Right there. Now that's you with the Monkees right there. How cool is that, man?
Very, very cool. You know what? I tell the whole story in the book, but it's because I did a favor for Jerry Renino, who at the time was the bass player in the Tokens, who had The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me for a favor. Hey, Cyndi, it's a long story, but I did him a favor. He needed a drummer for a gig, for a Tokens gig. And it was two days before the gig. I did the gig. I didn't want to do it. Hardly any money. I had to set up my drums. And I didn't know Jerry from Adam. I was the last guy he called in Manhattan. Please, Cyndi, help me, bail me out. I can't call. I don't know anybody else. And I did the gig, and 3 or 4 months later, he ends up getting the gig with the Monkees. And he asks me, because I did him a favor and because I had the opportunity, he had the opportunity to play with me and how well we were as a rhythm section, because he was a bass player. he said, I got this new gig, MD, in for the Monkees. Do you want to do it? And I said, sure. And that led to not just that tour of 1987, but it was almost every tour, every reunion tour they did until Davy Jones passed away.
Wow.
2012. And then that was another domino. And then rehearsing for that first Monkee tour, there's me and Davy on a beach in Thailand. You can't see what's in my left hand, but
But that's you and Davy Jones right there. Great shot.
yeah, that was awesome. Davy was just awesome. And we became very fast personal friends or whatever. And so, and rehearsing for that first Monkee tour, we rehearsed at a place called the Collective in New York. And I ended up teaching there because I met the owner and he wanted me to teach there after the Monkee tour. So that started a 27-year teaching career. So, you did one favor for somebody and the dominoes, that leads to this, that leads to that. It's like the roots of a tree.
It's a roots of a tree. Tell me, Davy Jones, huh? What type of guy was Davy like?
Davy was just awesome. He was born to be an entertainer. He came off the what's that area like Broadway and the West End? Is it the West End where they have all and he was in Oliver. He was the Artful Dodger in Oliver. So he auditioned for the Monkees, and having acting experience on the West End of London, he got the gig as the lead singer of the Monkees when he auditioned for the TV show. He was just awesome. And I ended up doing Davy's solo things because in between Monkee tours, Davy used to do his casino gigs and whatever. And me and Jerry were the rhythm section. And we became fast friends. He spent one night at my house in Staten Island because I was building. We played Westbury Music Fair, and he had a summer place in Pennsylvania, in Beavertown, Pennsylvania, where he kept his thoroughbreds. And on the way home, he goes, "Hey, Sandy, after the Westbury gig, why don't I stay at your house on Saturday night, and I'll wake up Sunday and help you build that rock wall you're building on the side of your house in Staten Island?" I said, "Sure." So
really?
there was my wife cooking breakfast for Davy Jones.
So he was like that, huh? He was into the handy guy like that.
He was totally handy. When we toured England, he goes, "Hey, Sandy, I know you like to have a camera around. Why don't you come with me? I'm going to go visit my old elementary school in Manchester." So I went with him to his the elementary school, and there he was on that first stage that he ever appeared on in Davy's elementary school. It was called the Varney School, and but he was totally cool. He would, "Hey, you want to go?" My one memory I have of Davy Jones, right? We were in Ireland, in Dublin, Ireland, and it was right around St. Paddy's Day. And he goes, "Come on, Sandy, let's go down the road for a bevy." So we walked down like about half a block from the hotel. We stayed at a place called the Bailey Hotel, and it was right around St. Paddy's Day. So we walk into this pub in Dublin. Of course, everybody recognizes Davy, and before we knew it, there was 5 Guinnesses in front of each of us. And so we pretended to get a little sloppy and wandered back to the hotel. And some of the Monkee band were in the lobby, and they were all going, hey guys, we're going to meet in the lobby tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. We're going to visit the Guinness factory. So me and Davey went, yeah, okay. And we slept through the wake-up call. And so we never went to the Guinness factory, but we had plenty of Guinness in our bellies.
God, he was was he going to be a jockey? Did he want to be a jockey?
He wanted to be a jockey because he was always, kind of demure and lightweight. And he actually owned a thoroughbred. We owned 5 thoroughbreds, but one was named Digpast, Digpast. And we got kind of sick of watching the VHS of Digpast actually winning a race. He would go, "Come on, guys, let's go in the back of the bus. We want to watch Digpast." So we would have to sit there again while Digpast, and you hear the guy go, "And he's coming around the corner, and he's number 1. There's Digpast." He was so excited the fact that one of his horses won a race. We went to the track, and he got the ribbon, and all of that. You know what I mean? It was like, I have a picture with me and his horse and Jerry Renino and a bunch of other people.
Did he do New York like over there, like Belmont Aqueduct?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where that race was where Digpast won, but
that's pretty cool.
He was well into to thoroughbreds, and he used to keep his thoroughbreds in Beavertown. He had 16 acres in Beavertown, and I rode some horses there. He used to have the band over there for a weekend to rehearse and whatever.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And he was just a regular band guy. He wanted to travel with the band. There was a tour where Mickey Dolenz had his own bus, Peter Tork had his own bus. Davey wanted to ride with the band. you know, and we'd have a couple of bevies and watch and whatever. And that's how the Archie and Anita think. I don't know if you're familiar with the Archie and Anita, but
Yeah.
you know, me and Dave Alexander, the keyboard player, would do this Archie bunker skit. Like we did it on Back in the Bus after about 4 drinks. and the next night on stage, he goes, "Come on down, Cyndi. Come on and do that Archie Bunker bit, a little bit." And he called Dave Alexander over, and that's how that was born. You know, this is the kind of guy Davy Jones was. We'd be in like bumfuck somewhere and having lunch somewhere, some like luncheonette or something, and he'd strike up a conversation with the waiter or the waitress or whatever. And one time the waitress said, "Yeah, I play a banjo, or I play," no matter what instrument it was. He goes, "Bring your banjo to the gig." And then he tell the road manager, "Put her name on the guest list." And then midway through the show, we're looking around and he's calling the waitress out to play a song on the banjo. You know, so that afternoon she was a waitress. Now she's on stage with Davy Jones. It was unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. But you know, so here you are, Monkees, and another one who's a great one, Pat Travis. We can't leave Pat out.
Right.
And then you got Cyndi Lauper.
Right.
Who's okay. Are you on the Goonies soundtrack? Are you
I am
on that track with her?
I'm on that one tune called "Goonies Are Good Enough."
You okay?
It was the single off the soundtrack record. But you know, so you talk about Cyndi Lauper. There's a Cyndi Lauper Davy Jones connection. I'm playing the Texas State Fair in Dallas with Davy. Let's say on a Friday, Saturday. Cyndi Lauper's playing the same gig, so they're staying in the same hotel. So they flew in the day before, the same night we're playing, and I heard that Cyndi was in the hotel. I called her and said, "Why don't you come down to the gig?" And she ends up coming down to the gig. I find out that she's a big fan of the Monkees, and he actually tells a story in Cyndi's show how she used to dream about going, you know, holding hands with Davy Jones on the beach, like, you know, whatever. So in the beginning of Daydream Believer, Cyndi's standing on the side of the stage with some members of her band. Davy Jones and his band are performing. And in the Daydream Believer was the encore. So the piano, and Davey does a little rapping over the intro. So during that time, I went over to the monitor man. I got a wireless mic, which was prearranged. Got a wireless mic and handed it to Cyndi. And she goes, "Where we go? Where we going?" And I brought her out on stage and tapped Davey on the shoulder. The crowd goes bonkers, and they sang Daydream Believe together.
That's cool.
That's awesome. They all came backstage afterwards, and it was a great time. I have pictures on my website of that.
That's cool. Now here's a great shot of you and Cyndi right here. She's like over there by your drum set with you.
Yeah, that was at sound check at the at Jones Beach Amphitheater in Long Island.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
This book is a fun read for everybody out there. You'll enjoy the book. We got Sandy Gennaro here in the house. And I got to ask you, Sandy, Bo Diddley. Bo Diddley.
Classic.
Tell me about Bo.
Bo Diddley was he was just awesome. He was a Hall of Famer, and he was a very gentle guy. He was all feeling. My little story of I ended up jamming with Deb Hastings and Margot Lewis, Margot Lewis was his manager and keyboard player, and Debbie was his musical director and bass player. And I went and had a jam session with them at the old China Club in New York. And when they needed a drummer, they called me, "You want to do the gig?" So the first gig was at Tipatina. No, it was the House of Blues in New Orleans. And now I'm about to go down in a week or so to play with Bo Diddley, my first gig. And I called Deb Hastings and I said, "Deb, do you got a CD? You got any recordings? Whatever." "Oh, no, you don't need that." "So what about a set list, Deb? Can I have at least the songs that he's going to play so I can research the?" "Oh, no, you don't even need a set list. Bo don't work from a set list. He just calls a song and we play." I'm going, "Deb." He goes, she said, "You're going to be fine." So I met Bo Diddley. There was no sound check, no nothing. And I said to Deb, "At least count the songs off." She goes, "Don't worry about it." Bo taps his foot and starts playing, and then we'll know. He doesn't even sometimes play the same song in the same key night to night.
Oh my God.
It was like on the fly. And 5 minutes before we went on, a sold-out House of Blues in New Orleans, my first gig with Bo Diddley, Deb goes, "Hey, why don't you go down and say hello to Bo?" So I went into his dressing room, and he goes, "Hey, we're going to rock tonight. You the drummer?" And I went, "Yeah, my name is Sandy." And he had hands. Hold on.
Oh wow.
This is
It'll be
Bo.
cool.
This is Bo Diddley. That's what his hands look like.
Wow.
And that was this was a picture I took of him because he used to come behind my drums during the encore. We're playing donk 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 donk. He used to come behind the drums and fish through my stick bag, and I broke it down, boom boom boom, and Bo would go ba ba da ba da ba da do, and I go boo. We did a little call and answer, and finally he says, after a couple of nights of that, he says, "Hey Sandy, your sticks are kind of thin. Can you get me some big fat sticks?" So I got him some big fat sticks. He really liked them because he had like boxer's hands. And then he said, "Can I take a pair of these sticks home? I'll bring them back the next gig." I said, "Bo, they're yours, man." So he takes them home, and then he makes these. He says, "What do you think of this, Sandy?" And he made those little, here, with duct tape. He put those little like sword handles on, so he didn't.
Great.
So he didn't. And as a bonus, this is my little bit of Bo Diddley. I asked his family, all I want is those drumsticks. Please let me have those drumsticks.
No way.
And these are the drumsticks.
How cool is that? Let me see those. So those are the Bo Diddley drumsticks right
These are
there.
the Bo Diddley drumsticks. Yep.
Wow.
And
That's cool.
This is the way he used to. This is the way he used to wear them.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it was awesome.
That is awesome. Sandy, that's wonderful. Here's a shot of you and Bo right there in the book.
Yep. That's us trading right after he got done with a few trades before. He used to drop the sticks and look at me and put his hand over my head like for the audience to applaud. He was just, Stefan, it's the stories that Bo Diddley had waiting for a plane. That's us in Amsterdam.
That's great.
Waiting for a plane, waiting to get on a plane, and the half hour, an hour you're waiting at the gate, and the stories he had about touring the U.S. in the very segregated South in the 50s, a black man in a station wagon with his band in the back, and he had to use a different restroom and a different water fountain, and he ends up in the friggin' Hall of Fame. So Bo didn't need to read my book to become successful.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He
was
that kind of man. And he used to call me Red for some reason. And the only thing about Bo was that he never cleaned he had glasses like Coke bottle glasses. They were thick, and his eyes were really big on the other side of them, like it's one of those glasses with the eyes. And I used to go to him, "Hey, Bo, you can plant tomatoes on those glasses. Let me see those." Because they were always dirty and always fingerprinted. And I used to take his glasses, actually take his glasses off his face. And with my shirt, I used to clean them. And he goes, "Oh, now I can see, Red. Thank you." Bo Diddley was classic. And he was not one to go, "Hey, Sandy Gennaro," introduce us. But he knew that the spotlight followed him everywhere because he was the star. And he used to come around to the back of the drums to make sure that the spotlight was on me at one point, usually during the encore when we did the trading fours on the drums. He was classic. I'm so fortunate and thankful to Debbie and Margot for turning me on to that gig. And then there was one tour of Europe and America that I was the musical director for. I can sit here and say honestly that I was the drummer for Bo Diddley for the last 5 years of his life. I played Bo Diddley's very last gig he ever did in his whole life. And I was actually did a 3-month tour of performing arts centers here. It wasn't Europe. It was here in America where I was the musical director. Wow. And that was a moment in time, and after about I think we did 44 gigs in 50 days or something. And Bo was 78 at the time, and he still wanted to keep going. And I was going, "Bo, come on, I want to go home and pet my dog, And he would go, "No, man, let's keep going. Let's keep going, Red. Let's keep going, Red. We sound great, Red." So wow. He was classic.
Wow. So you were with him to the end, huh? Played with Bo
right to the end, right to the very last gig that he ever played was a Harrah's Casino in. We flew into Omaha Airport, and I think it's Sioux Falls. I tell the story in the book of the very last gig that Bo Diddley ever played in his whole life, and how we tried to resurrect him after he had a diabetes thing. And then
I remember that
had a stroke. He had a stroke, and that kind of put him down because the stroke in combination with the diabetes, it kind of put him down. And Margot invited his manager and keyboard player invited us down to his house in Gainesville while he was still recouping and recovering. And we tried to get him. We brought a little back line into a couple of small amps and a snare and a hi-hat, and we try to get him out of his funk. And you could tell he was trying to play and he just wasn't happy. He would drop his arms in frustration. It was like it was hard for me to not even cry right in front of him.
Yeah.
It was very disheartening.
Yeah. Would he say anything to you about it, or?
No, not really. He was kind of here and there. He wasn't really fully cognizant of what was going on. I have about 15 seconds of a video of me and him sitting there, and we're at a reel-to-reel deck, and he's playing some stuff, some rhythmic drum machine stuff, and he's kind of singing along with it. But it wasn't, with all due respect, and I would never play that in public because it's not very flattering.
Yeah.
But it was him having, trying to put forth the effort to try to bring him out of that fog that he was in, but God bless him, man. I was alone with his casket. It was a small little chapel in Florida. It was in a swampy area, I remember. And I was at this funeral, and I was alone with his casket for maybe about 10 minutes. And I went, "Hey, Bo, I love you. I love you." And I had a pair of sticks. I kept his sticks. Those weren't going anywhere, but I brought a pair of my sticks, and I just went on the side of his casket, and I put the sticks in his casket. And as far as I know, they got buried with him, but
Wow.
Yeah, that was a very very emotional moment for me. Just me being, it's what it was, it was like, yeah. So that was it was an awesome experience. And I'm still in touch with Deb Hastings and Margot Lewis. They're just great. Frank Daly was the second guitar player in that band. He should be mentioned too. His brother, I forget his brother, Jack Daly, was Lenny Kravitz's.
Lenny Kravitz's bass player for the Mama Said. I think the second.
That's correct. Yeah, for
around
long time.
For a long time, great bass player.
Yeah, he's really, really good bass player. I think.
Oh, he was playing with Bo too.
No. That was Jack Daly's brother. Jack Daly's brother played guitar. Jack Daly was the bass player, right? Bass
player for Kravitz, yes.
His first name is escaping me, but Jack Daly's brother was the second guitar player in Bo Diddley's band. It was a 4-piece band with Bo.
Wow. Did you do the Ritz with Bo Diddley? Did you play? Were you?
Oh no, that was before. I think the Ritz, when Bo Diddley played the Ritz, I think Ron Wood came out.
He did.
No, I wasn't with them then.
Okay.
But he did a record with Ron Wood. Ron Wood was a huge fan. I mean, that was one of the perks of playing with Bo, because at gigs you see people that, whoa, there's so and so. So-and-so.
You got people like Bo, Chuck Berry. I mean, come on. I mean, these are
the Mountain Rushmore of rock and roll.
It really is. And back there, I have an album I always showed on the show, Let the Good Times Roll. The first album, besides my Meet the Beatles, that was my Bible of rock and roll. It was a movie, and it was about the Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Bo Diddley, Chubby Checker, Danny and the Juniors. But they show Little Richard and Bo Diddley on tour, and this is like 72, maybe. I could be off, but you could see, because their time now, it's over for them. It's the new generation of the music coming on there, and they're like, this in it's their midlife crisis maybe world.
Right.
Little Richard looks so cool. He's glammed out,
right,
and he's just so flamboyant and rock starred. And you got Bo Diddley, and they're talking about getting ripped off and all this stuff, and Bo's talking, and it was pretty cool. And the album is just great with his square guitar, dun, 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 dun. I mean, come on. It's,
right.
Chuck Berry got his riff, Bo got his. These are people who made the staples in the history of rock and roll music. You can, you know.
Bo likes to go, I wrote a couple of drum instructional books, and one of the things was I wrote out the Bo Diddley beat, and I give a little background on each beat and whatever, where the genre came from. And I asked Bo, I said, Bo, where did that Bo Diddley beat come from? And he would pound. You would heard his foot on the stage. He would be sitting down, and you heard dunk, dunk, dunk. He would bounce. He would bang his foot in quarter notes. Like he had such a feel and such a groove that he never deviated from that. It was awesome. And I said, "Hey, Bo," sitting next to him on a plane. I said, "Bo, where did that Bo? That's my beat. Where did the Bo Diddley beat come? That's my beat. It's my beat." And I said, "Bo, with all due respect, teaching at the Collective, I learned a little bit about where drums came from, and I taught a class on rock and roll, the origins and whatever. And I read that this beat, 2, 3, 4." Actually, in Latin music, it's called a 3-2 clave. Ba, 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 ba. You go, that's no 3-2. That's my. But what Bo did was he took it off percussion and applied it to guitar. Chanka, 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 dank, 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 down, up, down, 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 dank, 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 dank. And that's what that created a whole new thing. And then how many thousands? Well, I'm venturing to say thousands, but at least hundreds of songs borrowed that rhythm. I want candy. Gunk, dunk, dunk.
You think of Grease playing the hand jive, just all these tunes.
The hand jive,
right? Of course, just on the top of my head, right out the gate. I mean,
that's it.
It's pretty cool. I mean, Bo Diddley. I mean, that's one that's you'll never forget every moment. Did you take in every moment like, wow, taking all this in when I was there? Because some gigs you'll take for granted. All right, it's another gig.
Right. I did because when I joined Bo's band, it was like really, really late in his career. I mean, it was the last 5 years of his life basically, and so I knew that and he was already a Hall of Famer. So that was like, wow, I'm doing my first gig at New Orleans, a House of Blues with Bo Diddley, and I don't know what the fuck we're gonna play, and I don't know. And I told Debbie, I said, just do me one favor, 2 favors. 1, count me in. And 2, tell me if it's 8 notes, tick, tick, tock, tick, 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 or blues, tick, 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 tock, tick, tick, tick. Give me kind of some sort of hint. She goes, you'll be able to tell because Bo starts the song. So he'll give you the feel, and then he'll also give you the tempo. So don't worry about it. And it went off great. Bo, hugged me afterwards. He goes, "Welcome to the family," and all of that shit.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
That's awesome. Here, Glenn Kidd, Jack Daly's now in the Spin Doctors, and Jack's brother is Frank. Thank you, Glenn.
Frank Daly. I'm so sorry. Thanks, Glenn. I appreciate it.
Yeah, there we go.
Daly's
right there.
Now with the Spin Doctors. Wow, that's
wow.
Cool.
That's wild. Yeah. I think, and somebody out there in the chat would know. I think, Kravitz is always switching band members around because he did have time. It was who is married to Santa. Her name is Cyndi, the girl drummer. Cyndi.
Cyndi Blackman.
That's right.
Jazz drummer.
Great drummer.
Awesome drummer.
Yeah, amazing.
And, yeah, she played with Lenny for quite a while. Now she plays in Carlos Santana. She's married.
I think they're married.
They are married.
They're married, yeah. So that's a little history over there for everybody out there. But right now we got Sandy. His book is out there. I want you guys to go in the links in the description, check it out, order it. You'll have fun. You'll get to hear some rock and roll stories, and you might get some life lessons out of it that you're looking for. But Sandy, I gotta thank you for being here tonight.
It's over now.
Well, we could go on and on. I mean,
I know we can. You know what?
We could do.
I'll send you.
We got to do a part 2. But hey, the message here. If somebody right now wants to know more about this book, what's the message you can give them out there? If somebody's like just reinventing their lives because of the pandemic, and they're in their mid-50s to 60s, they don't know where they're going, what they're doing.
I'm going to demonstrate. I demonstrate in that book the principles that you need to live by. And those principles are explained, and they're wrapped around an acronym called BEATS. And it stands for belief, enthusiasm, attitude, tenacity, and service. And I describe all these attributes, the way you use those attributes to other people, the way you use them for yourself. And they're all of these principles that I explain are wrapped around my stories from my 55-year music career, playing with many platinum artists and And Stefan was nice enough to mention quite a few of them today. So pick up the book. You won't be sorry. My website is a place where you can get a signed copy. And if you just want to get the audio book, not the audio book we're working on right now, but if you want to get the digital copy or just a regular hard copy, you can go to Amazon. And the audio book, we're working on it right now. Me and Steve Olivas, my co-writer, and that should be done in about 3 weeks. So pick it up. And again, if you write to me, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. My email is sandy@sandygennaro.com. And I'll answer all my emails. So keep in touch.
That's great. That's everybody. Cyndi Gennaro in the house over here. I mean, what a track record you had. Okay, before we go, yeah, everybody likes a little dirt. Was there one artist who was just a pain in the ass? Come on. Is there one out there? If it's Bruce Kulick, don't worry.
No, it's not. I love Bruce Kulick. I love Bruce Kulick. I love everybody I ever worked for. But you mentioned the name before where he's not going to be the first person I invite to dinner.
Oh.
And I'm not going to go into the dirt, but there's plenty of dirt.
There's plenty of dirt. Okay.
Chubby Checker.
Really? Chubby Checker. Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. That's why, well, I appreciate it.
Did you play? Were you playing with Chubby?
I played with Chubby for about 2 years.
Oh, you were in the band for 2 years with him?
I was in the band for 2 years, and I would say probably it was like around 2001, 2002, something like that.
Wow. So how was he? What type of guy is he like?
You know, if we were in a room, you and I, Stefan, I'd give you the dirt, but I don't like to spread bad vibes around. Like, let's put it this way: if I had a choice of going play with Chubby Checker again or work in Home Depot, I'd put the orange apron on.
The sound effect. That's funny.
No, listen. He employed me for 2 years, and Stefan, that's the best of interview you've done with a great guest who is full of positivity and is from New York, like us. Yeah, Glenn, thank you.
The Glenn, that's right. He loves it. He loves it. Now, you know what? It's easy to do a great interview when you have a great guest. And Sandy, you truly, I'm not saying it because you're here. You truly are a great guest to have and easy to talk to. And I feel like I've known you for years, and it's been a couple of years that we've connected, and it's a lot of fun to talk to you about all these, just to talk about the history of rock and roll and this great book that you put out, and it's your story, and it can help somebody else that needs the help. We're always looking to improve, to make things better. And we always do seem to slip some in life. We all don't want to slip and then feel not positive and where we're going to go in life. But books like this, it puts us back on track. There's movies that you could watch that'll put you back on track, and people need these stories to help them out.
And you know what I've been told, Stefan, that it's really a quick read. It's a great read for you go to the beach on vacation in the summer. People said they in one sitting they finish half the book already. It's easy to read, and there's some nice testimonials for some famous people, and I really love it. And it's dedicated to my mom and dad and my father-in-law, who's no longer with us, and it's nice. I should have dedicated to Andrew Dice Clay for taking up the first 15 minutes of my interview. But we won't talk about that. And he'll still get a book. I'm going to send you a book. So Stefan, send me your address when we're off the air.
I will
I'll send you, because I don't need Andrew Dice Clay's address, because
he'll go crazy. You gave my address out. He'll go nuts on me.
I know he will.
And you also, you know, for people out there, Sandy, it's not only the first thing you've written. You did some articles in Modern Drummer as well, huh?
Yeah, I did. I wrote an article called "Your First Big Break: How to Get Your First Big Break," and I tell my story about moving to LA and how I got the Blackjack gig, which was my first big break. And then I wrote another story in 1984, 85, when drum machines were coming out. And a lot of the drummers were up in arms. Oh, I hate drum machines. Oh, they're going to take, and they did take a lot of work away, especially in demos and all of that, home recordings or whatever.
Dr. Rhythm.
What?
It was Dr. Rhythm.
Dr.
I remember.
Rhythm, the Lynn drum, which was my first drum machine programmable. But instead of shying away and going, fuck drum machines, I wrote an article saying approaching the scary monster. And the scary monster was electronic drums. And it's like, you're either going to become friends with it or you're going to be staying in your garage and play for the rest of your life in your garage or your basement for Thanksgiving, for your relatives in Thanksgiving. If you want to get out of the basement and you want to join the trend is not going to stop because you don't want to be part of it. And drum machines became a big part of a lot of records in the 80s. And then it was almost on every record in the 80s when it first came out. And then it started coming back. Now it's like a hybrid. Everybody plays with a click, which is definitely a metronome and electronic timekeeping of some sort. Even now with sampling and tracks and all of that. And, you know, you see a live rock and roll band, but you hear strings, but you don't see a violin player.
No.
There's tracks playing.
It became the Tonight Show now. It really has. You know, I'm waiting for Engelbert Humperdinck to come out there, which is singing by himself with no band. I am waiting for that. But man, it's changed. The whole business has changed from back then to now. So it's a whole nother world. But Sandy, I got to thank you for being here. Everybody, I'm glad you guys are here in the chat. Thank you for supporting. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and please, everybody, make sure you go down below. Links are in the description. Check out Sandy's book, Beat the Odds in Business and Life, and you'll have a lot of fun. Got to thank you for being here, Sandy. I think we're out of here, kids. Until then, we do have, I'm going live. I have the hit song, the English, I think they're from England. I got to double check that there's a band EMF. They did a song called Unbelievable. It's a big hit. And my buddy, Dice Clay, he's the voice in that song. They sampled his voice. And it was a big different, like that Manchester sound, you know. And I'm going to be talking to them tomorrow morning.
He doesn't say in the song Hickory Dickory.
No, he goes, "Oh, you're unbelievable. Oh, bum bum." So those guys, I'm going to have them come on the show, and we'll keep. You know what? Hey, everybody, subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit that bell to be notified when we come on, because you never know when we're coming on. If there's some breaking news, or if Sandy has something in drama that he wants to spill, we might get some more tales about Chubby Checker.
You know what, Stefan? We still haven't forgotten about the 100% of Blackjack. We still got to get Michael on it. We still got to work with Michael. We got to get Michael, but we will get Michael and put it out in the universe, because we have the other guys that are ready to do the conversation. Right. And we're all ready. The other 75%. What
a great singer Michael is. He really is. You know, he has it. But everybody, we love you, and we'll see you all later. It is Friday. Thank you for spending Friday night with us, and you guys be safe, whatever you do. Until then, we'll see you all later. Who loves you, baby? We do. Bam.